next day. Welcome back to the vlog. Just cooking some lamb and some salad on my stovetop burner, which again, can't wait to show you guys some of that. I know my setup is a little crazy right now, but hey, whatever. So, cooking us some lamb over here. Gonna get this fixed up. You know? So, gonna have to flip all the lamb together, but okay, look at that. So now I flipped everything over. Got a bunch of lamb meat for me. So I'm gonna put that on top of my rice and salad. So again, starting the day, some lamb. Boom. Getting some cooked. I'm getting the lamb inside of my food.
Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look, the war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country.
No, goddamn.
End mail-in ballots.
What a pain in the ass you are for a fucking president, goddammit.
You know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections, we'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in voting, even Jimmy Carter with this commission,
that's not true, guys.
He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And
no, that is absolutely false, guys. Come on.
Because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things, and now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad, I hate to take your time with this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. You know, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way, and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me, for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. He said, sir, you have to have it. I'm very impressed, actually. But it's very hard to cheat with mail-in voting. As you know what happens in California, it's so corrupt, where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not going to have a country. I said for a long time at rallies, you need borders and you need free and fair elections. Those two things, otherwise you don't have. We have strong borders now. In 90 days, Mr. President, we didn't have 0, 0 in 3 months. Not one person came in illegally into our country. In fact, even I find that hard to believe, but it's run by a little bit of a liberal group that put out the numbers, so I guess it's, but 0, 0, and 0. You go back a year ago, 2 years ago, millions of people poured into our country. It was terrible. Thank you very much.
Dude, that is like such like freaking like baloney trash. Like this is what I do not like about Donald Trump. I mean, like you guys saw me. I voted on camera using a mail-in ballot and just delivered it to the post office. The real thing that the Republican Party is trying to take away from you, while they're trying to take away those mail-in ballots, is that they're trying to gerrymander the political process to favor Republican districts, where in Republican districts, people like to go in voting booths. But in Democratic districts, we tend to be lazier. We like to mail our ballots in. We would much rather not wait in line. And so what he's trying to target is voting preferences that favor the Republican Party. And he's saying that as soon as if you ban mail-in ballots, I mean, it'll definitely swing election outcomes to favor the Republican Party that tends to vote in person at those locations. It has nothing to do with fraud. It has everything to do with voting preference. Because in urban districts, okay, say for Los Angeles, for example, these voting booths, they get crowded, okay? It's overpopulated, in all these urban areas where typically the Democratic Party tends to have most of the majority in those urban areas. And the reason why we prefer mailing in ballots, because we live in these urban areas, is because it just takes so long to get through the line, to get through the ballot and to vote in person at those machines. You're gonna have to wait after like 500, maybe like so many people are in line ahead of you. So and people get busy. But out in those rural districts where there's not any competition to go out and vote, that they can just show up at a voting booth and boom, there you go. They just hit some buttons and they don't have to wait for anybody, because out in those rural districts, in those rural small towns and stuff, that they don't really use the mail as much, guys, because they'd much rather just show up at the one school that has the voting going on and just wait in line for a reasonable amount of time. So that's why I'm saying this guy is completely out of his mind, trying to get rid of our right to vote using the mail ballot. And the funny thing is that I even voted for Donald Trump, the president, using a mail-in ballot, and he doesn't seem to like the fact that mail-in voters do exist, and they even voted for you already. So it's about politics, guys. And the politics is that the Republicans are trying to gerrymander the vote to favor Republicans more by making it so that people will have to vote in person. And voting in person is harder to do in big cities because it takes more time and there are more people to manage, more people circulating, and people are less willing to just simply wait in line to vote on something. So instead, what we do more often than not is we like to mail those ballots in because we have better things to do than wait around somewhere for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours probably, So, that's the real reason why they're targeting Democrats and those mail-in ballots. It's not because mail-in ballots are fraudulent or anything like that. Mail-in ballots are a legitimate way of voting. It's just they want to take that away from our country and from our citizens, because they themselves want to further manipulate outcomes so that it becomes a singular one-state Republican controlled government. And he wants to go full-blown communism down the Republican path. And if you guys don't do anything about this, I mean, this could have drastic consequences, because overwhelmingly it's our demographic. Our demographic is using mail-in ballots because of the inconvenience of having to go into those locations that are heavily overcrowded in all these urban cities. So he can say that it's wrong, he's lying, it's all politics. So just wanted to throw that in there while I'm eating food. I'm not gonna lie though, as a quick confession, I do love having lamb, rice and salad and rice, and this is such a good meal and it's very wholesome. It's just the news. The news is so terrible, like usual, guys, I gotta tell you. It's always bad news with this guy. Oh. The food is so good, but Donald Trump ruins my appetite. Can you put... Who can fucking eat and stuff their face correctly listening to that fucking garbage, you know? Not me. I just hope Donald really leaves our mail-in ballots alone. Okay? I voted for you with the mail-in ballot, you idiot. I am a US citizen. This has nothing to do with fraud, you piece of crap. It's because you're trying to exploit our political system. And your exploitation must stop here, okay? Tone it down. I don't want to show up at a mail-in voting booth location, okay? A lot of people like to vote without that crap. See what I'm talking about? The dude's fucking tripping. He's fucking tripping like, oh no, the people who vote with those mail-in ballots, they're illegal immigrants. They're not. They're not. He's just like, he's just trolling. He's just trolling like usual, guys, I'm telling you. Like, we literally have a troll for a president right now. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm gonna keep eating, and then I'd much rather work on some video edits and do some other stuff on my computer than watch that guy. Alright.